Before attending the strategic meeting on the Global Education Summit with members of the Nigerian delegation, President Muhammadu Buhari signed relevant documents committing Nigeria to progressively increase its annual domestic education expenditure by 50% over the next 2 years and up to 100% by the year 2025 and beyond. This is aimed at improving learning outcomes in the country. With Nigeria now fully committed to significantly increase investment in education, this meeting, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, is aimed at strategizing on how best Nigeria can drive maximum benefits from the Global Education Summit. The goal is to strengthen the nation's institutions, promote greater adoption of technology, build the capacities of teachers, and mobilize additional financial resources through legal frameworks and deliberate intervention on a sustainable basis. Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, coordinated the strategic meeting. The Global Education Summit is aimed at charting the best way forward towards transforming education systems in partner countries through the exchange of best practices. The summit is co-organized by Prime Minister Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom and Kenyan leader Uhuru Kenyatta. The summit, co-hosted by the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Kenyan leader Uhuru Kenyatta, provides a key moment for the global community to come together and support quality teaching and learning for all children in line with the 5-year strategic plan of the Global Partnership for Education. The goal is to raise at least $5 billion towards supporting efforts at transforming education systems so that access and learning outcomes fit for the 21st century can be accelerated.
Some child somewhere may well be the one who goes on to develop the next vaccine to deal with cancer or whatever other problem afflicts humanity. Some kid around the world will, I have absolutely no doubt, have their lives transformed, and many kids will have their lives transformed by these funds.
Let us remember that even though money is necessary for transforming our education systems, it alone is not sufficient. A deliberate, committed drive towards ensuring that each dollar investment impacts quality and holistic education for our children is equally as vital.
Speaking during a panel session with other African leaders, President Muhammadu Buhari said neither the government nor parents in Nigeria joke with education.
Being over 200 million and the size of the country itself is a major challenge for any administration.
Absolutely.
But luckily people have realized that education is a starting point.
Yes.
Anybody who missed the opportunity of receiving education, he has missed everything. Hence, the fight for opportunities for education is very severe.
At the summit, Nigeria lends its voice to the Raise Your Hand campaign on closing the financial gap for education, described as the heart of all national development efforts.
I assure you that Nigerians are acutely aware of the priorities of education. And they are going all out to make sure that their children and their wards get the opportunity to have the best of education.
Other members of the panel, including the presidents of Ghana, Togo, Kenya and Malawi, spoke on the peculiarities of the education sector in their respective countries. President Muhammadu Buhari had earlier committed to raising the budget for education by 50% over the next 2 years and up to 100% by the year 2025. During the high-level engagement between the two leaders, President Muhammadu Buhari talked about measures taken so far towards enhancing industrialization so that Nigeria can be more self-sufficient in critical areas of need. Stable power supply, he believes, is necessary towards achieving the objectives, especially in the area of solar energy. Discussions also centered on security, with President Buhari outlining the various challenges confronting Nigeria and the support being rendered by the UK government towards finding lasting solutions, and called for sustenance. The Nigerian leader also held bilateral talks with the Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland, who promised to support his genuine efforts at fighting corruption in the country. The Commonwealth Baroness Scotland also explained developed other tools to be made available to the Nigerian government towards enhancing police and criminal justice reforms, governance, trade, as well as encountering violent extremism. President Muhammadu Buhari also met separately with the Nigerian leader Muhammad Bazoum and the Kenyan leader Uhuru Kenyatta.
The policy of the Buhari administration since inception is focused on completion of uncompleted projects, some of which had been abandoned for decades. Going by the saying that water is life, the administration, through its Ministry of Water Resources, has touched almost all areas with a view to providing sustainable access to safe and sufficient water for social and economic development needs, as well as adequate sanitation by 2030. Minister Suleiman Adamu says much have been done in the development of infrastructure, and though the supply of potable water rests solely on states, the federal government is intervening through collaboration and partnership with states, the private sector, and non-governmental organizations towards ensuring Nigerians have access to potable water. The weekly executive briefing of press is initiated by the presidential media team. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says the Federal Executive Council gave the approval to commence the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Standard Gauge Rail due to its importance to the nation's coastal economy. The other project is the Kano-Jibia route and the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri route. Works and Housing Minister Babatunde Fashola received the nod of the council as the memos concern the commitment of the government to expand and consolidate on the rail projects. The last meeting of the Federal Executive Council was held on the 14th of July this year, and at this Wednesday meeting, Council spent over 7 hours deliberating on issues such as education, rail infrastructure, rehabilitation of refineries, and power, several other issues. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo presides over the meeting with 8 ministers, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Chief of Staff to the President were all in attendance physically, while others joined virtually. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, led 3 other ministers to brief State House correspondents on the resolutions arrived at by the Council. The Minister of State for Education says the federal government is committed to ensuring that there is enough security in our schools.
The National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies is over 40 years old. It was established in 1979, and at that time, early in the life of our dear country, the leaders thought of establishing an institute where top technocrats from all sectors of the national economy would be trained to go on and conceptualize, initiate, and execute policies and programs for the development of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You may want to know what we do at the National Institute. The National Institute is the topmost think tank for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and one of the mandates, or the core mandate of the National Institute, is the training of senior executives who will go on as top technocrats who will go on to initiate policies and programs for development of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Again, the National Institute is a very high-level center of reflection and research and dialogue, where top academics of excellence will come and then experienced citizens who have wisdoms and a lot of experience who come to brainstorm on the top issues of development in Nigeria, especially as it concerns Nigeria and Africa. The whole concept of policy and strategy is that the way government programs are initiated are by policies and programs. So government initiates policies and programs. So we train people at the National Institute who will initiate these policies, these programs, devise novel and ingenious strategy for implementing the programs for the benefit of the common man of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Well, the National Institute is most grateful to Mr. President for, first and foremost, approving the theme for the study of this year. The theme for the study of this year is Getting Things Done, Policies and Program Implementation in Nigeria. You will agree with me that over the many years, some of the development challenges of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is not for lack of policies and programs. We have adequate policies in almost all sectors of our national life. However, implementing these policies over the years has faced some challenges. So this year, in his wisdom, President Muhammadu Buhari approved for the National Institute the theme, Getting Things Done, Policies and Program Implementation. And in order to actualize this study, the National Institute has embarked on study tours. We have had lectures for the Senior Executive Course 43, where we bring from all over the world subject matter experts to come and give lectures, come and brainstorm at the National Institute. We have so far concluded the local study tour, where we visited about 14 states in the country, 7 states in the north and 7 states in the south. We have concluded the intercontinental study tour, where we visited 7 countries outside of Africa, and we are at the verge of proceeding on the African study tour. At the end of all these study tours, there will be a concluding seminar at the National Institute, where we would put all the studies for the year into perspective, brainstorm with subject matter experts and the participants of the Senior Executive Course 43. Thereby, we will now arrive at concrete advice to government on the solution to getting things done for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. At the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, over the years, the National Institute has been particularly very lucky to be situated within the Presidency, and especially within this period of President Muhammadu Buhari's regime. We have enjoyed a unique opportunity that in spite of the COVID, our academics has not suffered any stop. Last year, 2020, when there was COVID and many institutions closed down, the National Institute saw that as a challenge, and then Mr. President challenged the National Institute, saw that as a challenge to forge ahead. We brainstormed and came up with unique, novel advice for the federal government. And the success of the National Institute can only be measured in the policy arena, where we send policy advice to the federal government of Nigeria. Again, some of the challenges of the National Institute because of the demand for our program. We cannot meet with the number of people that want to come on courses at the National Institute for Policy and Strategy. These are some of our problems. So the National Institute has prepared a strategic plan for expansion of the National Institute in order to accommodate a lot more participants who desire to take benefit of the opportunities offered at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. So these are some of our key challenges. Try to find resources to expand, because we will require more lecture theaters, more accommodation for directing staff, more accommodation for participants, and these are those challenges that we're meeting up. And again, the President has ensured that we have a conducive environment for study at the National Institute. So they have prepared a beefed up security within the National Institute in order to ensure that participants at the National Institute have a very conducive environment for study. Well, at the National Institute, the National Institute for Policy and Strategies, over the many years, 40 years of our study, we have been a think tank, but we've been challenged by the regime of President Muhammadu Buhari, especially the Vice President, to start looking at being a do tank rather than a think tank. And in this wise, the National Institute is collaborating with some non-governmental organizations to ensure that some of our recommendations that we have passed over the years to governments are included in some laws in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The National Institute has collaborated with the NDRPC. It's an institute we are a non-governmental organization resident in Kano. We are collaborating with NDRPC in order to ensure that the programs, at the end of the year, when we send policy advice to government, that these are incorporated and all stakeholders are taken on board in the implementation of such advices which we send to government. We discovered from our local study tours, when we go on local study tours, that a lot of people, the impact of the National Institute is not being seriously felt in some of the states of our visit. So we have decided that at the end of each local study tour, we would send to the state governments the reports of the National Institute's visits to the states. And from this tour, we equally discovered the lack of capacity in critical areas in some of the states of the Federation, and we advised the state governments accordingly. To this, many of the states have started to subscribe to some of the courses at the National Institute, especially the policy, strategy, and leadership course. A typical example is Enugu State and Adamawa State that have sent participants to the nominated participants to the policy, strategy, and leadership course of the National Institute. And this will effectively help to create efficiency in functioning of those state administration. Again, in the area of curriculum development, the National Institute has looked at the senior executive course program and realized that there needs to be a shift in the curriculum of the National Institute in order to make it a lot more impactful. And this way we have introduced case studies approach to learning at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. We're equally working with the MacArthur Foundation. We have started a program with the MacArthur Foundation in which we are going to incorporate corruption study, anti-corruption study, which is a core area of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, policy administration, so that we'll incorporate that into our curriculum, and then we look forward to see how this will impact on participants going forward from the National Institute, so that the core area of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration policies on anti-corruption will be implemented. Again, we're working on with the DRPC on women empowerment programs. So we want to see how the coordination of women empowerment program can impact on the government programs of empowering women and then getting 100,000, 100 million people out of poverty by the end of this administration. The National Institute is looking generally at the core areas of the President Muhammadu Buhari's program, and then try to see how we can implement, how we can bring this into our curriculum so that participants on leaving the National Institute for Policy and Strategy are better informed, well equipped in order to be able to respond positively to government policies and programs. The National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies collaborates with other think tanks all over the world in order to facilitate our research, our research of our mandates, the research aspects of our mandates. Some of those agencies are think tanks that we collaborate with, like the MacArthur Foundation, and within the Nigerian government sector, we collaborate with almost all agencies of government, because our mandates as a National Institute transcends all aspects of all agencies in government. So we collaborate with almost all agencies in government, state government, federal government, ministries, departments, and agencies of government in order to conduct our studies. Currently, again, the National Institute is conducting research in the areas of this SDG, the SDGs, especially SDG 3 and 7, so that we can see how effective government is implementing these SDGs. The National Institute for Policy and Strategic Study is structured in such a manner as to reflect the dynamics of the government and of Nigeria. We have at the helm of affairs of the National Institute the board, which is appointed by Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari. And then on the board of the National Institute, we have from the armed forces, we have the Chief of Defense Staff, who is currently the acting chairman of the board of the National Institute. Just immediately after the board of the National Institute is the management of the National Institute. The management of the National Institute comprises of the Director General and his directors. And then below that you have the other staff of the National Institute. And that gives the National Institute, working through the board to the presidency, gives the National Institute focus and direction. In the National Institute is divided mainly into 3 core directorates. The Directorate of Study, which is responsible for all the academic work of the National Institute, which includes the Senior Executive course, the Policy, Strategy and Leadership course, the Strategy Command and Responsibility course, and then from time to time the National Institute collaborates with other organizations to anchor some very peculiar courses, and then sometimes some state government or some institutions would request of the National Institute to anchor a particular program from them. Currently, like the Bayero University of Teaching Hospital in Kano, we're having a program that we're trying to do, and with it, especially again with Kaduna State government, we're anchoring a program with the Kaduna State government where we package a peculiar course program designed for that state or for that institution to help the institution. Then they will have the Directorate of Research. The Directorate of Research is one app that anchors, is out of the 11 mandates of the National Institute, 9 of those mandates are domiciled with the Directorate of Research. That's to show you the impact of research in the activities of the National Institute. We conduct a lot of research in almost all spheres of national life in order to be able to advise government effectively on some of its policies for program implementation. Some of the things that we're doing are definitely not for public consumption, but it's important for you to know that the National Institute conducts brainstorming sessions and discussions, and some of the activities, the output of those brainstorming sessions, we've passed them through the proper channels to government, and we see government implementing them, and we're happy about the way government is going about it. COVID-19 is real, and the government of President Muhammadu Buhari is not missing words to let the citizens know. Government has spent so much money on COVID-19, implementation of the presidential task force, the presidential initiative on COVID-19. At the level of the National Institute, we take the directive on of COVID-19 very seriously, and we've been implementing all government policies to ensure to keep away to combat the pandemic. We've done a lot of corporate social responsibility, especially within our community, because we know that in order to have a healthy National Institute, the environment at which we operate must be healthy. So the National Institute has packaged a lot of face masks, hand sanitizers, water dispensing machines to the community where we live, the Kuru community, and we have encouraged them to use this equipment that we have given them, the face masks, the hand sanitizers, and the water dispensing machines, so that they can wash their hands. And we carry out a lot of through our hospital and the participants, we carry out a lot of outreach to the community to advise them on the measures to keep the virus at arm's length. Within the National Institute, it's a policy within the National Institute that social distance is maintained, because we have a lot of participants. Luckily, the government has provided for us a very big auditorium that accommodates over 500 people, and our participants are less than 100. So you can imagine that in the hall, it's just 1/5 of the hall that is utilized. So we maintain social distance, and because I'm doing interview now, I can't wear my face mask. This is my face mask. It's compulsory at the National Institute for everybody to wear face mask always. COVID is real, and we must ensure that we keep COVID out of Nigeria. The courses run at the National Institute, our flagship course at the National Institute is the Senior Executive course. We have other courses at the National Institute, which include the Policy, Leadership and Strategy course, the Strategic Command and Responsibility course, and other courses that we anchor from time to time based on the policy, the advice from the research output of the National Institute. But the flagship course, which is the Senior Executive course, is run annually. The President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces gives a theme to the National Institute which we use in running such courses. And for the year 2021, like I said earlier, the theme for this year's course is the Getting Things Done, Strategies for Policies and Program Implementation in Nigeria. And we have 80 participants on the course. The participants are drawn from different sectors of the national economy, from the armed forces, from the police, from the paramilitary, from the academia, and from the private sector. And for you to come on course at the National Institute, for those of them in the military, they have to be from the rank of colonel. The commissioners of paramilitary have to be to the rank of commissioners of police. From the civil service, you have to be a director at the national level, and then at the state level, you have to be a permanent secretary. The course is designed in such a way as people who are coming on the course are people who have had some experience in government, because it is all about experience sharing and brainstorming. So you have something to give. It's not just about taking, you have something to give. You have to come with some level of experience, so that by the time we bring these subject matter experts to come and interact with participants are now breaking down into about 7 study groups. They now go into this study group and brainstorm and come out with solutions, workable. So you must have some experience to bring on board. And that's how the course is designed. I, Brigadier General Chukwuemeka Udaya, retired, the Acting Director General of the National Institute, thank most profoundly Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, for all the support he has given to the National Institute to perform, and solicits the cooperation of Nigerians to support Mr. President in the fight against corruption and sustainable development of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.